Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's January 26, 2021. This is the Zoning Board of Appeals meeting. Can we have a roll call, please?
James Howard, absent. Joe Mullinex,
Present.
Dave Moon,
Here.
Brent Wedding,
Here.
Mike Wilson.
Present. Okay, I move that we suspend with the rules and...
Second.
Aye. Got it. Okay, old business, we have none. New business, election of officers for this year.
I make a motion, we stay with the same we had.
A second. Everybody good with that? Yes. Thanks, guys. So you got that taken care of.
So that's you as chair, me as vice chair, right?
Yes. So, the new business for this evening, use variance for 116 North Clay Street Motorcycle Club Meeting Place, located at the property is zoned R3. And according to the zoning codes, clubs need to be in commercial district. And Mr. Mosley is looking for a use variance for this location. Do you care to come up and give us a little information? State your name, your address, and we'll go from there.
All right.
You can pull that up too.
Yeah, just,
All right. My name is Richard Mosley. The building that I own is 116 North Clay here in Peru. I live at 1314 East Picture School Road. I purchased the building here a little over a year ago in order, I belong to a motorcycle club. We were a riding club. Looking for a place that we do charity rides, we do events where we collect stuff for people that in need. Look for someplace besides my garage, or obviously, you know, it's too much stuff to keep in one place. The building that I purchased was about to fall in. It's a historical building. I mean, to say the least, there was a grocery store back before my time. When I was a kid, it was a ballet studio for years. Then it was an antique store, and then it just went downhill from there. It was even worse than I thought when I bought it. I got up on the roof and it was a sponge. So the motorcycle club has decided that, well, why don't we chip in and all help, put it together. Saves, I mean, it would have been tore down probably by now if somebody wouldn't have bought it. And when I offered them the money for it, that is what I told them, you know, you don't have to take my offer, but if you don't, you know, please do that. Otherwise, the city of Peru, which they've been doing it here a lot, they're getting rid of a lot of the rundown buildings, houses. So I got the money, bought the building. We've been working on it. I met with the chief of police. I met with the mayor at the same time, introduced myself, explained to him what I was doing. We are a motorcycle club. Too many people watch Sons of Anarchy. They should be watching Wild Hogs. I mean, that's the difference in it. We've been around in Peru, believe it or not, since 2001. And we started over on West 7th Street. When I first bought the building, first 2 weeks I purchased the building, I received phone calls from Rebecca over here that there was complaints about I was doing things without a permit, I was doing this, and she was putting notes in my file. After the third time that she called me, I just, hey, can I talk to the building commissioner? I mean, that's who I got to talk to. Ron Dausch agreed to meet with me. He came down to the building. We went through the building. At the time, I did not need a permit, which I knew. I mean, I know what the laws are for the most part, but if it's something changed that I didn't know about, that's why I invited him down there. I got a permit for renovation of it.
So did you say at the time you did not need a permit and then Ron told you you did, or?
No, I did not need it. The phone calls that were coming in saying that I was doing things without a permit.
Right.
Ron Dausch verified to me that I did not need a permit for what I was doing. I was tearing down the old plaster and stuff like that.
And then when he started to do work that required a permit, he got the.
Then you got
Went
permit.
and
Okay.
did the roofing permit.
Okay.
I got permits for everything that I've done.
Good.
And followed the procedures. Anytime there's been a complaint, as far as that goes, or if I had a question, I'd call up here just to re-verify and make sure everything was right. We do things for the community.
Right.
Last 3 years, we've been to Save a Lot. Do their $5 grab bags that they have at Christmas time. That's what we do. This year, we had a donation box out in front of the building for people that we decided we was going to give back to the community for Thanksgiving. We said we would do 3 people. We had enough contributions and donations. We donated 10 Thanksgiving dinners to families here in Miami County that otherwise wouldn't have had Thanksgiving dinner. The Girl Scouts that set up, every time there's something going on with the youth or something in Miami County especially, we try to get everybody together to go over there, show support, help out. I've been blessed now to be able to do the stuff this. Before I'm giving back is what I'm trying to do. We did the backpacks from bikers. Like I said, a lot of people have a bad name. As soon as they hear bikers, they think that. We donated almost 150 backpacks to the kids here in Miami County. We set it up, they were full school supplies. Every school, the circus building normally does it every year. COVID restrictions, they could not do it this year. We put out on Facebook that we had them. We we did a charity ride for it. To get in the ride, it was a backpack or equivalent of in school supplies. After it was done, we spent several days going through everything, filled the backpacks up, put it out on Facebook, and had them come. Kids came, we got pictures of them. Like I said, the building was about to fall down. And since then, we have not, it's standing a world of difference between where it started and where it is now.
So you purchased the building when?
November of last year,
Of
2 years ago.
2 years ago. And when did you decide that you were going to move the bike club there?
After I got it to where it was safe to walk in,
Which was,
I would say probably March or April.
of this year, or of 2020?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, you were aware of the zoning that was on that building at that time of R3?
When I came in and talked to the mayor and chief of police, they asked what my intentions were with it. And I told them we was going to store the stuff and that we would meet in there to figure out what we're going to do with it. As far as the zoning, I don't quite understand all the zoning things. I've tried looking them up. I've always known it to be a business. I don't want to rezone it as a business by any means. That's not what this is about. So when they said that they filed for a variance, because I received a letter from the city saying that I was using the building for something that it was not, that I initially said it wasn't for.
When were you first made aware of the variance situation?
Requirement.
I honestly couldn't tell you the exact date, to be honest. It was mentioned to me that I would probably have to file for a variance. I waited for a letter. Once I got the letter, then I came up here, because I had the variance paperwork filled out. So when I came up here, they said, well, you have to fill this out. I have it, except for I don't understand what you guys want here. And what I'm going to do with the building, because I'd already come up here and took care of the problem when I talked to everybody up here of what I was going to do with it.
This is the board that grants the variances.
Yes.
So what we're going to do, and because we do have some people, some remonstrators here.
Yes.
We're going to have to listen to them.
Absolutely.
But what we will do is make sure that what you're going to do with the building in the future, aside from the
Right.
stuff, what you're actually going to be using the building for
Right.
falls within the special exceptions
Okay.
variance at this point.
Absolutely.
So you are looking for an exception?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you're not interested in pursuing change of zoning or anything like that?
No, sir.
Outstanding. Okay, if we have any more questions for you, we'll call you back up.
Can I ask?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Mike.
Would it be helpful to make sure you understand the whole purpose of zoning? Because it doesn't have to be, obvious to everyone that you can buy a property and think you can do anything to it. And in point of fact, a government body has decided we want the cars over here, the trucks over here, people living over here.
Right.
Noise over here. So the zoning tries to make it so everybody's going to be happy living around each other.
Right.
So to the extent that, you can have something that somebody says, well, I want to put something noisy next to these people's house.
Absolutely.
That's where you end up having issues, and that's where a board like this can come in and say, okay, well, let us help see what the issues are and how we might decide. So I don't know if that helps.
I did understand after they talked about the variance on it initially that, about businesses and stuff. I make it a point, at least once a month, to talk to all my neighbors that are right around the building to make sure if there's any problems. They all have my phone number.
Okay, that's very nice.
One is here. When I first moved in, she said her husband works night shift. He gets home at 6, 7 in the morning. We didn't start any kind of loud work or anything outside until at least noon. That's what she asked for. That's what we did.
Fair enough.
And she didn't like us to begin with either, so. Hey, I'm just.
Welcome to being a human being.
Exactly.
Somebody's not gonna like somebody.
Exactly.
Somewhere along the line,
I
perfect example, shut
I'll
up.
kill them with kindness. I'm not there to start trouble. I'm just there to,
How often do you meet at the building, or how often are there people there?
Actually, it'd be more, how often do you plan on meeting at the building?
Yeah.
we plan on meeting there twice a month.
That's more.
So other than the 2 meetings a month, will there be people coming in and out on a daily basis?
Yes.
Okay.
But that's just like, would be foot traffic at a business or something like that.
It's usually me going there because I'm usually working on the building site.
Right,
sure.
Most of the people in the club, they come to at least one of the meetings. It's part of the thing, they got to come to at least one. And
So if
that's
you
what
have,
meetings are.
right, if you have 2 meetings a month, what time will they be?
The meetings are at 6:30.
And how many people do you project will be at the meetings?
We usually have about 20
Okay, all right.
Are
right
they
now.
weekdays or on the weekend?
on Sunday evening.
Sunday? Okay.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Do people travel by public transportation, or do they ride their bikes there?
We ride the bikes, we drive cars, trucks. I mean, we have people that walk, so we're not a Harley club necessarily. We have all forms of bikes. It's not one of them.
Watch you guys go down the road a couple of times.
Yeah.
and- Yeah. Nice mix, actually.
Yeah, we actually, we take, there's no discrimination on it. If you're on 2 wheels and riding,
Fair
that's what we're looking for.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Is everybody else, you guys all satisfied with what he said here and all that? All right, let's go with remonstrators. People that have an issue with this. Do you have anybody here? So I take you one at a time, come on up. Unless you're on the same sheet of music, so, but yeah, come on up.
My name's Gracie Nice. I live over by the bike club,
Can we have your address, please?
117 East State Street.
117, okay?
When they first started out over there, Richard was good about communicating. Then as time went on, things got out of control.
Excuse me, when you say out of control, please explain that. What do you mean, out of control? I mean,
I had to put my truck in the garage, in my garage, to be fixed. There was people in trucks from over there at his place would lie down the driveway there, spit gravel all over the place.
we're talking the alley there?
Yeah, the alley.
Okay.
Construction?
Huh?
Are they doing construction kind of folks? Or these are people?
Construction.
Were these people working on the building, hauling stuff in and out?
No, there's, the green truck, I don't know who he is, but he was over there, and he left and he spit gravel all over the place. And then there's a maroon van. They come up from 8th Street, went around the SUV, my neighbor guy that I had parked there, so they wouldn't do that. They came up and talked to the mayor and said I was blocking an open alley, which I had closed that off a long time ago, but somehow it didn't get recorded at the courthouse, so now I'm going back through the process to close it off again.
You're talking
And-
the east-west alley?
Yes,
North-south.
north-south.
North-south alley?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Because the east-west alley's a
The big one.
utility
North
corridor.
south that runs right beside your house?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
And these individuals were driving down, going in that between the alleys there,
Yes.
okay?
And then there was a maroon van just the other day. I followed it. I thought he was going to Richard's place. I followed him. I walked, I didn't follow him in nothing. I walked. He didn't go to Richard's place. He went over on Ewing Street, parked right in the north and south, is it, alley? Right there in front of that house. So I couldn't, I backed up because I snapped a picture of the license plate when they parked it out on the street, and it was the same van. So if I had known he was in that van at the time that I walked past it and backed up and got his license plate, I would have knocked on his window and probably cussed him out. But
Well,
I just went back to the house and he went that way. I watched him with binoculars. I'm not ashamed to tell you what I do.
okay, but, so basically you don't have this van, you're not sure this even has anything to do with this motorcycle club at this time, are you? The other truck the green truck that you were talking about, you said it did come from there, but this van, you have no idea where or who this individual was and stuff,
Right,
right?
right.
Okay, then that really doesn't have any bearing on
Right,
this, what we're talking about right here.
right, the green truck does.
Okay,
yeah.
so what else have we got?
I took up a petition, I went one block, all the way down, one block behind me, one block in front of him, and I went, one block over this way on Ewing and 6th. I talked to a lot of people. I had 50-some signatures. There's an elderly man he'll be 103 in March, he said. And he said he's a little leery of the business being there because he knows what a motorcycle club is. And they say they do things and they're not. And he didn't know how much or how to thank me for going around and talking to people to stop this from becoming a business or
Okay,
whatever
well,
you want.
that's just a feeling that he has. He has
Right,
nothing's happened or anything like that.
no. And he said that.
So basically, what you're saying is the only thing that's happened is this green, with this business right here at 119, is that this green truck threw gravel around in the driveway, in the alley.
Yeah, and he went up to the mayor and complained about me
Well,
blocking his closed alley. But in the GSI now, it says that it's open, so I'm going through the process right now with her to,
that'll come up at the
Close it.
planning commission.
yeah,
When we
next
have it
month.
at our next meeting, so.
And they've been doing illegal tattooing over there. They put the pictures on their Facebook pages. People's made comments on them.
Okay, so they've showed, on their pages, they've showed pictures of tattoos, but you don't actually know where that happened at, because it doesn't say on there.
It says right here. At the Vintage MC, Peru, Indiana, October the 9th, 2020.
Okay.
And he just said, quoted, he didn't start doing that over until March. They meet over there every Sunday.
Well, they also stated that they're working on the place, so you're going to have people going there to work on the place and so forth.
Yeah, but
I'm just-
not every Sunday. I don't care what he states, but they have a meeting every Sunday. And it is illegal to do tattooing without being licensed and things. And then he says on the one, the city was trying to shut him down. Well, when I talked to Ron Dowse, he told me that variance is not trying to shut him down. So, and there's other people that I talked to. One guy told me that he's known Richard Mosley most of his life. He knows what he's capable of doing. He knows what he's done in the past. And he wouldn't put a past that he ain't gonna do it now. So,
But that's hearsay, you have no
I know.
direct knowledge of that,
Right.
so. So will you just stick
Most of
to,
them's concern was flying up and down 8th Street, not worried about no kids, a lot of the old ones. And he had told a couple of them, I don't know whether it was Richard or somebody in the club, but 2 of them told me that he told them, one of them told them, not to park over there where they put that gravel at. And the one guy said, he told him he pays taxes over there, so he can stay on his side of Clay, and he'll stay over here on his side of 8th Street. And the other girl said that, she asked him where was she supposed to park. And I don't think they should have no control over who parks on the public streets. I mean, if they ain't went and got a thing to shut that yard off to be a parking lot, and then I don't see where they can tell people you can't park where we gravel.
okay? Anything else?
Nope.
Who else wanted to speak?
My name's Gregory Ambrose. I live at 120 East 8th Street as of right now. I was born and raised at 115 East 8th Street. And the store he was talking about that used to be a little grocery store, that was a store I used to go and buy candy for a penny at. And he probably knows nothing about this stuff. But I've lived in this block my whole life. This motorcycle club come, and he says he come around and talked to the people that lived on the block. The man hadn't ever said one word to me. Not one word. I got words from my neighbors telling me that I was gonna have to move my vehicles across the street where I park because he's gonna buy them lots and make it a parking lot, and I wasn't gonna be able to park there. So what I did, I went and bought the lots next to his lots, so he couldn't tell me shit. Now, they got motorcycles running up and down the street fast as they can. Well, not as fast as they can, but they go a lot faster than the speed limit. Got my grandkids nervous as they can be when they're outside. I don't like that, and I won't put up with it. I mean, if they keep their stuff over there, I'm okay with it. But once they bring it to me and mess with mine and my family, then we have a problem. And I don't care how many in the gang, don't care how many they are of them, but they are not gonna intimidate me, and they ain't gonna make me move out of my house. They ain't gonna make me go nowhere. And I won't go nowhere.
Now, let me understand something here. You said that a guy told you that, a friend of yours told you that they were going to...
My neighbor 2 doors down,
Okay,
they told them not to park right across the street in front of my house.
okay, but you have nobody told you that,
No,
other than this neighbor of yours.
but they told me it come from this gentleman back here.
I'm just saying, you have to understand that we're up here listening to...
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
I don't know what this guy told you.
But how can I
don't
talk
know.
to him when he don't talk to me? And he says he talked to everybody on that block.
Okay, but you've seen him over there?
Have I seen him? Yeah, I've
you
been
walked
past
over?
him.
Have
I
you?
passed him several times. I'm over there mowing my lot, and they're doing all kinds of little stuff over there, like putting trash over on my side of my lot, driving across my lot,
All right.
stuff like that.
Okay.
I could go over there and be a real butthead if I really wanted to. Because they ain't scratched the surface yet.
So have you called the police about these insurrections?
The police do not do nothing to them.
I just...
They just
No,
tell me, oh, I need to put up cameras and get evidence.
I asked you, did you actually call the police and say, hey, I have this going on right now?
No, I did not.
Okay, thank you. So, you know,
But my neighbor across the street has, which I done lived next door to her for over 30-something years.
Haley,
Yes.
police reports?
We only found one, but we're not exactly sure what happened. We're thinking that maybe dispatch didn't put it in as complaints.
Okay,
But we only have one on record, and it was from Becky when,
okay, we'll let that go.
yeah.
Okay, anything else, sir?
Which two lots did you say you own, sir?
What's that?
Which two lots did you say you bought?
They got a lot that they're trying to turn into a parking
Right.
lot, and then I own the next 2 lots next to it.
Okay, is that the one that's under Mary L. Hall?
Yeah.
We're
Okay.
putting-
I'm buying them off of her, and they'll be paid off by February of next year.
Sir, you can go over to the board there and show us where you're talking about, just so everybody's clear on this.
Actually, which one's his lot here?
Here's the building.
That's the motorcycle club there.
This is the motorcycle club?
Yes.
So this is the alley?
Yes.
That's their lot, I own this lot, and I own that house, and I grew up in that house.
Okay, so you own 2 out of 3 lots there, and they own 1 of the lots there, is
Yeah.
that correct?
Yes.
Fair enough.
And I know for a fact, he went down there and told the other people, a couple houses down, that they couldn't park in front of that lot too, because they needed to get out of there. They do not own the street.
Fair enough. When you say you know for a fact, does that mean you actually heard it, or
No, my neighbor told me
your
that.
neighbor told you? Okay, I'm just trying to,
Right,
that's like me saying that, I heard something. We'll get to you in a
right.
second.
I have 2 neighbors that told me the same thing.
Okay, but they haven't told you anything like these guys have not told
Did
you
you ask
anything.
him if he told anybody that?
I'm asking you right now, because you're the one.
Yeah, I'm up
You
here
didn't bring
telling
this
you.
up. You just bring this up,
Right.
so I'm trying to figure out where we
Right,
are.
well, you can call him back up here and ask him if he told people.
Oh, no, he's coming back up.
Are there any other neighbors that are remonstrators that are here?
I have a letter from a neighbor across the street on Clay. They couldn't be here tonight, so they wanted me to read this for you guys.
Can you read that?
Are we
Go
finished with
ahead.
Mr. Ambrose?
What's that?
Yeah.
I was just wondering, were we finished with you? I just want to make sure we got our questions.
Really, I was just trying to see if there was anybody else, because there's a lot of, well, my neighbor told me this, my neighbor told me that, but the neighbors aren't
here.
here, so.
No,
Right.
but the 2 that said it signed the paperwork.
Sign the petition?
We have no addresses on here, so we don't know where any of these people live.
Yeah, we can't verify any of the signatures. To tell you the honest goodness truth, I mean, in all honesty, we can't verify who they are or anything like that.
Okay, I'll have them call you.
Well, there's no need for that, but I mean, this,
In the 2
will
meetings
be
they have
resolved
a
this
month,
evening, so-
they have a lot more traffic over there than 2 meetings a month. And it's at like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning sometime, motorcycles going in and out of there.
all right.
So it ain't no coming a little bit here and a little bit there. It's coming all the time.
Okay, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Anybody else?
I'm gonna go out and check.
Yeah,
make sure
would-
that
would you please, Haley?
there. Are there any remonstrators out here that want to speak in front of the board?
This COVID thing's made it kind of rough with having to keep people separate and moving people around and so on and so
Biggest
forth.
meeting we've had in this room in a lot of months.
Okay,
Yeah, anybody?
there's none out there, but I do have this letter.
Okay, we'll enter the letter. Who's the letter from?
It is from James and Gloria Luke.
From who?
James and Gloria Luke.
Okay,
It says,
Address?
"To whom it may concern."
address.
Oh, 115 North Clay.
115 North Clay.
Yes.
Okay,
That's not their address.
That's my address.
They own that property.
That's that's,
so they're the owners of the property. You rent that property?
I'm buying it on contract from them.
You're buying it on
Okay.
contract,
Yes.
so they no
it's just,
longer...
and
They're
I'm
still-
trying to read it, so.
No, I understand. We're still going to enter it in, but
Right.
you're buying it, so, okay.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Okay, it says, "We, James and Gloria Luke, being the current homeowners of 115 North Clay Street, Peru, Indiana, do not agree with the city of Peru allowing Richard Mosley Jr. to turn his building at 116 North Clay Street into a business, parentheses, clubhouse, etc. This neighborhood does not need nor want all the nonsense of the motorcycles revving their engines like they do at all hours of the day and night. One of our first experiences of this club being in the neighborhood last summer was when the rival gang showed up at their door. When we then had to put up with Richard's club members speeding up to the building, they then were walking around the block, getting on top of their building. Some of them have guns wrapped up in their t-shirts, and some, if not many of them, are convicted felons. Now, we have to put up with them posting 2 to 6 guys on the street corners while they are conducting their meetings, not knowing if they are armed or not. What would you think if you have men guarding the corners or standing on a roof while they have gatherings at the building? What kind of legitimate business needs to do this? The surrounding neighborhood is mainly elderly residents, many of which are 60-plus in age. They do not want to hear this nonsense. Most, if not all, want to enjoy the quiet outdoors in the spring and summer. We, as one, do not want the bikers racing up and down the streets like this past summer. Clay Street has issues with parking and getting vehicles up and down the road, let alone in and out of the alleys. This past summer, it was hard for anyone to get up and down Clay Street due to all the cars parked on Clay and the motorcycles lined up on one side of the road. When Richard has his people over there, it is very hard for us to park in our garages to get out of the alley because of cars blocking the alley or cars not leaving room for people to exit the alleyways. People cannot go to them and voice their concerns because when they do, they just get cussed at, nor can you call and make a complaint to the Peru Police Department because nothing gets done. The cop just drives by. We do not want this kind of business around our family-friendly, quiet neighborhood, so please take into consideration when making a decision. Picture this clubhouse being in your neighborhood and ask yourself how you would feel if it was. Why can't Richard have it at his own backyard out in the country where he lives? Why bring it to the small, friendly, quiet neighborhood? Thank you for your time. And then they signed it. No.
Do they own that piece of property? They do not live in that area?
No, but they live in, I think it's,
Right beside it.
yeah, I think it's 161 East 8th is where they live.
They live kind of around the corner from the clubhouse.
Yeah.
I'm just curious as why they didn't use their address.
They own that whole corner right there.
Yeah, they own the whole corner, so that's probably,
Okay,
How long have you been buying it?
Going on 2 years,
and how much longer do you have?
another 2 years.
Another 2 years.
Mhm.
Okay,
Probably longer than that.
My payments are all up to date.
okay.
Another 2 years.
So how do you feel about the bike club?
Let me tell you, when it first
She's a
came,
part of it.
yeah, I wasn't happy about it
Mhm.
whatsoever. I was raised up around bikers, so I knew, back in the day how they could be. I did immediately go across the street and I told Richard, I said, look, I live in here. I don't want a bunch of bull. I don't want a bunch of noise because my husband works nights, he sleeps. I like to sleep. I do have a 7-year-old grandchild and a handicapped grandchild that are my first concern. Richard told me, he said, no problem. He said, there won't be any noise until this time. We came to an understanding. I was on the oh hell no bandwagon at first. After we came to an understanding, we got to be friends, joke, kid, cut up. I honestly do not have a problem with them. Nobody has caused us a problem. The only problem was, like the letter said, when the rival Black Pistons had got busted uptown, when they came down the street to intimidate whoever was supposed to have been at the clubhouse, which was just a bunch of women at that point. Yeah, I had a problem then, but, everything turned out fine.
That's only happened one time?
Only once, yes.
Okay, thank you.
I came home one day to find one of them over in my yard building my grandson a ramp on our house. They shovel our walk-off in the wintertime. They have been a big help. My son, my grandson, and my husband have since then joined the club, and we are not biker gang material, I'll promise you that one. But Richard's not hard to talk to, because if he can talk to me the way I talk, because I'm damn demanding, anybody around there can talk to him. So, like I said, I don't have a problem with them, as long as the noise is kept down, and even with my husband being a member now, it's still that way. Noise will be kept down. I have walked out of my house, walked across the street, looked at guys' bikes, turned their stereos off, turned around, walked back in my house. It's just a rapport that we have come, under agreement on.
Okay.
What's your name?
My name,
Mhm.
Debbie.
Debbie?
Mhm.
What's her last name?
Your last name.
Shouldn't you need, you have her last name?
Paul.
Okay.
If I've got a problem with anybody over there, I go to either the person I got a problem with, or I go to Richard.
Fair enough.
If I can't clear it up with the person I have a problem with, then Richard can handle it. But I haven't had any issues since, I told Richard, this is the way, our neighborhood needs to be treated. Because we are a lot older people in that neighborhood,
Sure. Okay, anybody else? You're on. Come on up to the podium, please. It's for we actually air these and.
Right. To clarify just a couple things here, Mr. Ambrose is right, I have not talked to the man personally. When I say I talked to my neighbors, I talked to the house in front of me and both houses beside me, because then would be the direct effect
Correct.
the soonest. So he is correct, I didn't go a block down the road on 8th Street, I didn't do that.
It ain't a block, it's right on that same corner.
I do not own the parking lot that he's referring to. I did not talk to his neighbors, I did not talk to him, I didn't talk to anybody about it. Alan Chesley, which is a club member, he had purchased it. He owns it. He's president of the Lafayette chapter, so he's not even in Peru. He allows us to park there under the conditions. Anything that they have a problem with city-wise, we were notified, not allowed to park in the grass, has to be gravel down. As soon as we got notification on it, we put gravel down. We put gravel out to the road. They did petition about the drive or something, but that's not me, so that has nothing to do with
Okay,
me,
he's put gravel out to 8th Street?
out to 8th Street.
Yeah, so, for code enforcement, I had complaints that they were parking on the grass, which is against the ordinance. I went out, took pictures, wrote it up like I would. Richard immediately contacted me, said, what do we need to do? I walked with him and the owner of that lot and just explained to them they need to put gravel down. The question was, do they put it all the way to the curb on 8th? The street department went out, approved it all, so they're good.
So they got the tree line
Yeah,
thing, you know.
they're compliant.
Because I have a vague recollection of sitting in a meeting where I think Alan was here and asked about doing that and was told no.
What he was told no on was they wanted do not block drive signs.
Oh, yeah, that's not an issue, yes.
Okay, so
Because
the
since
drive
it's a
was,
new driveway-
because, okay, the way it sounded that night was the drive wasn't there and wasn't going to be allowed.
No, it's
Okay.
there because the street department went out and approved it.
Okay, okay,
I did double check that
Okay.
to make sure
that's fine.
the conditions on it, so
I've been in some meetings
Right.
here that they haven't been in, so I'm trying to wrap my head around all of it. So-
I called up here and checked
Okay.
on that because we weren't sure what we could do and we was at a standstill. I was given the site to go to watch, because it's on YouTube. So we watched it and called up here and they said it would set precedence for all of 8th Street to put do not block drive. So
Right.
I contacted Alan, like, hey, this, so
Okay.
that part of it, we're not,
Okay.
we just are on loan for that.
You want to throw that back up on there for just a minute? So, okay, you could actually exit out of the east-west alley too, though, I mean,
Yes.
which wouldn't block, I mean, so if it was blocked on, somebody parked their car there where that, like, van is parked now, you still have access because that alley can't be blocked, so, okay, yeah, I just wanted to see a picture of it, just to understand where everything was and all that.
The complaint.
And it is a driveway now, so they can't block it anyway.
We placed the gravel there because it had been overrun by grass. We cleaned up the sidewalk part of it, that we just made it back to where it was supposed to be originally. I don't know what words were exchanged with whom on that, because that's not that. The complaint that Gloria and James Luke have on July 23rd of 2020, Gloria Luke posted on Facebook, I know Vengeance MC is over by me. Didn't know about any of the other clubs that were supposed to be in town. But I personally do not, or had not had any problems with them being in the neighborhood. That was on July 23rd. So nobody has actually come to me with a complaint with it, and I've told everybody that has talked to me, if there's ever a problem at that building, as far as all times, day and night, I get up, I go to work, I get up at 2 a.m., I've got to be working Tyson at 4 o'clock. I've checked with the police department, I make sure that there's nothing going on. I was told that there was extra police surveillance, I hey, appreciate the extra police surveillance. If it's because of me, you guys are there, good. That means less stuff I got to worry about happening in the building. So, and if I offered the chief of police and mayor open invitation to come into the building and offered them the names, numbers, and addresses of every club member we have. So we have nothing to hide. We're just looking to do more charitable stuff. We have the memorial ride that we do every year. We have 2 members that have passed away. We do it for them. One of them, his son's here. He graduated last year. We had a thing for that.
Okay. Just because it was in our packet and it was brought up, I want to bring up something about the tattooing. So I was looking at the pictures and reading the comments. Just did a quick Facebook search. It says Kyler, Kansas, McElroy did the tattooing. Did a quick look on Facebook. He owns a tattoo parlor in Logansport, Indiana, so he is a licensed tattoo artist.
Okay.
Just because it says it happens at the club or they checked in at the club, but I can check in right now on Facebook and say I'm at your club.
Correct.
So just because I say I'm there doesn't mean that it happened there. And just a 3-minute search proved that he is licensed and has his own business in Logansport. So just because it's in the packet, I wanted to bring that out. That this does not tell, I'm not saying it didn't happen at your club, but this does not prove that it did. And because it's being recorded and it's in our packet, I want it to be brought out that this is not substantial proof that it was done by an unlicensed tattoo artist or even at your club.
Correct.
I'm just throwing that out there.
But if you look at the other page on the one, it says that contact Becky Mosley. They were going to do it on October the 24th over there, so that is proof they're doing it over there
October of this coming year or last year?
last year.
Well, unless somebody actually witnessed it and tells us that, you know, they saw it, it's hearsay.
Well, the Board of Health will be out there tomorrow.
That's your prerogative.
And I don't know the codes.
That has
Maybe for a
nothing to do with
fundraiser, he can do, I mean, you can do traveling massage artists, you can
Yeah, I
do
know.
traveling, all kinds
If
of
he's
things.
licensed in the state, he may be able to go anywhere he wants.
Right, I don't know how that's, but I mean, you can take a massage table anywhere and do it in-home services. So I don't know the qualifications for that, but he is licensed.
But if I may add, I don't know that that's really your issue.
No, not really.
And it's not really an issue, but I'm bringing it up to clarify because it was brought up. Sure.
The concern, as one of the board members, is someone saying noise and aggression. Those are hard accusations, and
Absolutely.
you got to find some way to address that, because as a motorcycle club, which are known for noise
Right.
and aggression, you got to be able to say, no, we make
we
sure
have-
that doesn't, I don't know if there's like a conditional way, because I can imagine one of the comments, if you'll allow me.
Okay.
One of the comments was, you guys may agree to anything, and then after a while, you're doing anything. So I don't know if, in my opinion, if this is conditional, or if you're really non-conforming, and, you know, we're really trying to go out of our way to try to accommodate, the question could be, if in the future, you're noisy or aggressive, does that give us an option to revoke or suspend, or, I mean, because even tonight, I would imagine if we finally found some way to say, well, it sounds like you guys could be okay, but in the future, your neighbors are like, hey, this is not working. I mean, how, are you in a position to say, well, okay, if they don't like us, if we have been found to be noisy, aggressive, blah, blah, blah.
Well, let's just, would you guys read IC 36-7-4, what we're actually, the conditional use permit here?
What was it? I'm sorry.
It's IC 36-7-4-918.8.
Do you have that in front of you?
Yeah.
This is the Indiana code.
There you go.
Okay. Huh?
You got it? It's the last one on the right-hand page.
Do you want me to read it out loud? Or
Yes,
just-
please, if you don't mind, just for the record.
Okay. Board of Zoning Appeals, Metropolitan Development Commission, exercise of powers, variances, exceptions, or uses. In connection with its consideration of a proposed ordinance for the amendment of the zoning ordinance proposed under section 607C2 of this chapter, the Metropolitan Development Commission may exercise the powers of the Metropolitan Board of Zoning Appeals for the purpose of approving or denying. 1, a variance from the development standards of the zoning ordinance, or 2, a special exception, special use, contingent use, or conditional use from the terms of the zoning ordinance. B, Metro, the commission may, by rule, establish procedures so that the power of the commission to recommend amendment of the zoning ordinances and the power of the commission to approve and deny these variances, exceptions, and uses may be exercised concurrently. These rules may be inconsistent with the 900 series to the extent reasonably necessary to allow the commission to exercise the power to approve or deny these variance, exception, and use petitions. C, when acting under this section, the commission may, 1, vote on the amendment to the zoning ordinance and the variance, exception, or use petition at the same time, and 2, condition the approval of variance, exception, or use in such a manner that it takes effect when the recommended ordinance amendment is approved by the legislative body. And then D, section 922 of this chapter does not apply to variances, exceptions, and uses approved under this section.
Basically, you're agreeing to follow the
Correct.
ordinances and so forth and not violate them in any way, shape, or form if we were to grant this.
I'm sorry, can you read the, what's permitted in that R3 zone? Is that a permitted?
It's
use?
residential.
Yeah,
This
but I
would
mean,
not be-
sometimes it
It's a
says
multi-family.
these are non-conforming uses that can be allowed. Sometimes
Yeah,
it
this
doesn't
is
allow.
not
you-
one of
This is
those.
not
It's
one.
not.
No, yes, this is not one of those. Otherwise, we wouldn't be sitting here right now.
Okay.
As far as your,
I'd have had it
the thing about the
Tuesday night.
noise,
Mhm.
any member of the club, we have rules and guidelines they have to go by. And part of the rules that they sign is there will be no hot rodding, burnouts, any of that sort in front of the clubhouse ever. They sign it, they know what their fines and stuff is for it. If it happens, I have specifically told the neighbors right beside me, if any of that happens, let me know immediately. We have surveillance cameras. The police have actually used our surveillance cameras because one of the neighbors got his tire sliced. We had it on camera. He asked if he could use a flash drive. He came in. I didn't know how to use the darn thing. I know how to record it. That was it. He come in, used the flash drive, put a flash drive in, downloaded the clip that he needed to arrest the guy that sliced all 8 tires. So
Was he one of yours?
no, absolutely not. They were, we were there, there was like 10 of people there, and they seen him do it, and the guy just went, he poked all 8 tires out of the guy's, and, I mean, like I said, we have cameras, security cameras, and for protection of the building and everything else, to just,
That means they've seen me drive by there half a dozen times in the
at
last
least
week.
half a dozen times.
And just to clarify, we are not changing it from an R1 or an R3, we're just giving a variance, right?
Right.
So my next, the reason I'm asking that is, do you at any time serve alcoholic beverages at your club?
No, I do not.
Okay, because that's something that we cannot give you a variance for. You can't sell them or serve them if.
Absolutely
if you
not.
stay.
For zoning changes, it would be the Planning Commission, not us.
Right. But I'm throwing that out there so people know, you're not gonna, turn into,
I'm not over there serving beers.
Yeah,
We're
go
not,
on there
I'm not
and
saying that
make
we're not there
beer.
drinking beer. I'm not saying that we haven't been over and drank beer, had a cookout, people bring their beer and drink it. I'm not saying we don't do that, because we've had cookouts there.
But they're not
and they-
right.
but you're not
We
serving
are
it,
not
you're not.
serving any form of alcohol to anybody else.
So the club is not purchasing it, providing
Absolutely
it
not.
as a drink?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Among themselves. And
That's,
he's saying
that's
that
perfectly legal along them, just like it would be in your house, ma'am.
Right.
And he's saying that they don't get out there and rev their engines or nothing. I sent a video to Rhonda,
I'm
and
Rebecca, and I never got that video.
you never got it?
No.
Well, okay.
Well, his sister-
Every time, I have talked to Miss Gracie here a couple different times, and each time that I've talked to her, she says, "Ma'am, I have no problems with you. I have no problems." Every time I've talked to her, there hasn't been a problem, so
No, fair enough.
it's,
What about vehicles parking in the alley?
Well, the east-west alley, they can't park in anyways, because it's a no parking.
No, they're
I
not.
understand that, but in my neighborhood, I have a problem with it, so I'm checking.
we don't park in the alley.
Okay.
The complaint that was given was parking along, there's a Blazer that's been parked in her alley for like a month now, that hasn't moved. That was,
And it ain't
that was,
gonna move.
so,
It wasn't them blocking the alley, it was.
no,
the
it's
other
not us walking in an alley, we,
That's all I'm checking.
yep.
one. Okay,
Thank you.
all right.
Okay, anybody else?
My complaint is when you go, they park, say like right here's the alley, they park right here at the edge of the alley, then they line them down through there, and you can't turn out this way when her husband's car or truck, whichever it is up here at the edge of where the streets, the street is, where the city put that sign, do not park out here. Okay, well, her husband parks up here, or one of them, her son, one of them, right there at that sign on this side of it. And then when you got all the bikers right here, you can't turn and go that way. Or if you're coming out from where my daughter lives, you can't turn and come this way.
Okay, but that is a parking issue and doesn't have to do with the use permit for the property that they have. That's a separate,
Our vehicles are parked where the city told us to park them when they
but
put.
that would be a separate thing altogether from what we're actually discussing here tonight. We don't dictate parking or,
I spent a lot of time down there when it was a ballet studio because I had kids in it. And I can't imagine the parking being worse now than it was then. Because you couldn't drive down the Clay Street at all most of the time.
if there's one thing the city has
now
on the,
when they're all there.
if there's one thing the city has on the east side, especially in your neighborhood, it's a parking problem.
Yeah, that
And we're trying to
describes,
fix
that
so.
describes every street in Oakdale and
Pretty
on the
much.
east side, so.
Okay,
So we asked about remonstrators, are there any other people that are here in support of it?
The lobby's full.
do we,
I just didn't know if there were any other neighbors here in support. We've heard from the neighbors that are remonstrating, but were there any that
and
were?
we've heard from one neighbor that isn't, has no issues with it, so.
Okay,
Can I ask among the board? So do we have the latitude to accept something like this, but then have these narrow confines about?
it's in there, that's what
Okay.
if we approve it, that's what we'd be approving.
Right.
They get it.
So the
as
minute
long as-
someone says, hey, they're not, and they haven't, and all that
Then
kind
they
of
are in
stuff.
violation of their conditional use permit.
Okay.
But it can't just be hearsay, it's gotta be,
We have to have evidence.
Yeah.
So far,
And there's gotta be
hey,
code
I'm only-
But that's a police matter? I mean, is that the,
Police, code enforcement,
Yeah.
okay, code enforcement?
yeah.
But I would imagine
They
a
could all play
police,
into it.
a police report would be equally as effective in making a
if those
case.
start piling up, then yeah, they're outside of their condition.
Okay. So it seems like to me, that's a narrow constraint for a motorcycle club to want to grow within.
But they don't seem to have a problem.
Now, I'm just making the case, and I would think you may already know that, but that's a narrow constraint. Your guys have to not, get happy, and you can't have somebody else mad and wanting to come over. I mean, that's a narrow constraint, and then that seems like it puts your investment at risk, and you have liabilities and all that sort of thing. So I would think you thought long and hard about, is this the right place to put this kind of operation or this kind of activity? So I'm just making that case.
And wherever they want to put it, we're just all over.
Well, I mean, I'm trying to bring a little bit of that up, and I'm trying to be,
We didn't purchase a place out in the county,
Mhm.
you know, in the country. Ideally, that would be great,
mhm.
but I have 3 kids in college, and the other kids are in high school. So anybody that has kids like that knows I can't afford to go buy a piece of property out in the country and put a pole barn on it or whatever. I got this for a really good price. Like I said, we're not doing anything major. It's not like a major operation. Like I keep telling, Sons of Anarchy was the worst thing that could have ever come out on TV when it comes to people like us. I mean, because it was a 7-year series.
Well, and I think there are some vehicles, whether it's a bike, a truck, a car, that they're just loud. My neighbor has a Charger. My neighbor has a Charger and a truck, and they're very respectful, but every morning I can hear him start his truck. And I'm in the back of my house, and he lives across the street on the front of my house. And he's not revving it up, it's just his truck is loud.
When I was a teenager, we were the hot rodders in our town, and I'll tell you right now, every one of my neighbors thought I was the biggest POS around. So
Well, I'm just saying
and
that
I'm here now, so, you know.
it's just part of being neighbors, when you live in town, you deal with that. Do I like my neighbor's truck being loud and waking me up before my alarm every morning? No. But is he a decent neighbor? Yes.
So,
Well, I guess that's the point, is the decent neighbor side, because if you've got people's grandkids and have lived there for 40 years and all that kind of stuff, I would think you've got to work hard to make sure they're not offended. If something, it seems like we don't have a good reason to say, no, you can't, other than a couple of cases. But I would think you got to be a good neighbor and make sure, yeah, so.
All right.
any other questions?
No, sir.
Yes is for approving the conditional use waiver, no is for disapproving it. Roll call.
Dave Moon,
Yes.
Brent Wedding,
Yes.
Mike Wilson,
I'm still thinking about it. That's a tough, man, it seems we don't have a conclusive reason not to, so I will say yes, but again, with conditions that are very stringent, so that your neighbors are not here saying, look at what you guys did to us, so, just so as you know, I say yes.
okay. Joe Mullenix.
Yes. Motion passes. You got some paperwork for us to sign?
In your packets.
Oh, thanks, I already put it away.
Want to close the meeting?
Is there anything else from the board?
No.
Make a motion that we adjourn?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
There we